Good evening. Good evening. I didn't do it right the first time, but the Toronto Raptors lose to the Utah Jazz 142-110. Uh, yeah, I guess this was the first bad game since the trade, and kind of had a last dick effort there. Threw on Grady Dick as like a wild card, see if Grady can shoot us out of this 20-point deficit, but Dick was not enough, and Darko folded it. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He said, "Fuck it, gonna put out the Dick Temple, McDaniel's lineup." Raptors were never in this game. Weird game. They were 10 for 16 from three at the half. Don't really understand why there wasn't more threes. It was like the only thing working. It just felt like they kept banging their head against the wall, driving into traffic over and over again, and then getting brutally contested at the rim because Utah's really good at that. But then the three ball was hitting really well, and it didn't click in until the third quarter to like, oh, we need to actually shoot way more threes. And even looking at the box score, the Raptors still only took 34 threes. They went 17 for 34. So they're shooting threes at a 50% clip. But so were the Jazz. The Jazz took 43 threes, so a little bit more. But yeah, the Raptors from two, only 43%. They got 37 free throws, which they didn't do well on either. Bizarre game. Scotty 5 for 11 from the free throw line. Quickly had 0 assists, so I don't know. That's not good. I don't really know how that's possible in 25 minutes. And then Barrett obviously put up the Carmelo Anthony aforementioned 4-point game. So that was a bit of a difficult watch for RJ Barrett on this one. But yeah, just this is the first bad game since the trade. Just I think Utah was up for like 20 points for felt like most of the game. It was pretty much lost in the first half. And Utah's a fun team. They have like 120 draft picks and enough depth that like THT is like DNP'd. Tim Hortons can't even get a cup of coffee on this team. But yeah, you just same thing as last game. You just get killed by Jordan Clarkson. It's a pretty nice weapon to have off the bench. I mean, you got Kessler coming off the bench too, so those are two really nice bench pieces. They're a pretty deep team, and Markkanen's taken a pretty big jump, so they're like a mini, far away from, but like mini kind of OKC. You got a million draft picks, star player that's got a really nice trajectory. And a bunch of pieces that seemed really random, but actually roster construction wise, like fit pretty nicely, I think, in general. Like there's nowhere they're really stacked in, but then there's nowhere they're really, really lacking in. Maybe a wing, but I mean, they got like a million picks. They did really well, obviously, on the Donovan Mitchell Gobert trades. They got like 5 picks for Gobert, and then Mitchell, obviously they got Sexton and Markkanen and a couple other, so basically like Markkanen, Sexton, and like 8 first round picks. So pretty good haul there for Danny Ainge. We had a Utah Jazz fan reacting kind of funny to Scotty's like high five thing at the start of the game. I guess Scotty's probably like the quirkiest guy outside of the Mormons, of course, that has ever been in Utah. I've been maybe we could talk a little bit about Utah after I did spend a day there once. So it's 100 degrees. Don't buy this golf thing. So this was like a weird game from Quickly. He came up like first play of the game, hits a logo 3, and then another pull up 3, and I don't know. It just felt like he kind of fell off the map a little bit after that, and Siakam had a crazy game from 3. don't visit this golf course. I don't know what they do. They might poison people or poison children or something. I don't know, but they do. They potentially do really bad things um, to people. I don't know that, but if they're running ads, you got to be a little bit suspect on what they're doing behind the scenes. So I wouldn't trust them. Let's fly. Let's fly somewhere, folks. I want to go to the marina. Take me to the fucking marina, or maybe don't. But yeah, Pascal Siakam in this game, he was like really automatic from three. They were kind of leaving him. Okay, back at the marina. There we go. They were kind of leaving him, and his three ball has looked a lot better the last few games. So I think teams are still having to kind of have it in their scouting report that maybe the three is back, because a lot of them were open, and I was happy that he was taking them because, again, Raptors 10 for 16 from three at the half, and just like going at the paint every possession into just like a wall of people. I didn't really understand like the overall strategy on that. Pretty incredible defensive game from Scotty. Obviously, he had the highlight blocks, just like erased Keontae George on one of them. Who else did he block? He had like 3 or 4 blocks in this game, but I just thought he played really good defense on Markkanen and Clarkson, which are it's kind of wild to be guarding both those guys in the same game. Very different. I mean, they both shoot the three ball. Obviously, they both can drive, but very different players. So, yeah, I thought that maybe it was his like best defensive game that I've seen in a while. This kind of continues to be a trend since the trade. He's gotten a lot of OG's assignments, so that's going to take a little bit more out of him. He had 19 points in this game. So not electric offensively, but I don't think anybody, not even Grady Dick, was super electric. I thought it was a good game, another good game from Porter. He was, I mean, looking at the plus minus this game, you can't really look at it, but he had another 9 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Again, he's just kind of always right place, right time, really smart player. And he was aggressive. I like that from three. He got a couple 3 balls up today. Only went 1 for 4, but at least he was taking them. Like, again, my overall thesis of this game is the Raptors should have shot more threes. Like, Siakam 5 for 6, Scotty 2 for 4, Barrett went 0 for 2, quickly went 3 for 3. Like, you got to take more threes than that in 25 minutes. Sorry. Boucher 1 for 3, Temple 0 for 1, Porter 1 for 4, Schroeder went 4 for 7, and then Trent 1 for 2, and Mr. Grady Dick missed 2 3-pointers in a tough outing, I would say. I felt like he played really good on-ball defense on Clarkson on the first possession, and then after that just kind of got lost on defense a few times. And then on offense, just like, Porter's in the right corner, let me go dribble into him, let me go dribble into his feet. Yeah, tough, man. Especially, I mean, you can't judge draft prospects this early, but everybody kind of does a little bit, even the purists, a little bit. It's tough when you got Keontae George on the other end, who just, you can see the pop, you can see the upside really clearly. You can see what kind of value he would bring. Played 22 minutes tonight. It's not like or 24 minutes tonight. It's not like he went crazy. He had 9 points, 3 for 10 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. But 6 assists. I thought his playmaking was really good. 3 rebounds. But he just seems a little bit more like alive. I don't know what the word is. But yeah, I guess this is the first Grady game since what, November or something? End of November, start of December. They got him on like a Dolph Lundgren workout program. So yeah, it's a tough one. He also got blocked, I think, once or twice. But yeah, he went 0 for 3 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. Picked up a couple assists, but overall just didn't really move you that much. McDaniels put up 15, a lot of garbage time buckets. Somehow McDaniels shot 10 free throws in 8 minutes. It's like, okay, it's interesting. He got fouled a lot down the stretch, but yeah, that's got to be the most efficient free throw stat I think I've seen. 10 free throws in 8 minutes. That's pretty good. I feel like when he finishes through contact, like when he goes off the backboard, it usually seems to be good. But then when he tries to do like touch, it like rattles out, or if it goes in, it just rattles in. But yeah, he kind of came in at a point where things were kind of over, only 8 minutes. And, Porter, 31 minutes off the bench. So he played he led the Raptors in minutes. Wow. So interesting, weird game. Quickly only 25 minutes in this game. That's kind of weird. He was a minus 28. I mean, he still had 15 points, 3 for 3 from 3, 4 for 8 from the field. But I just thought that he wasn't aggressive after that first couple of minutes there where he just came out bombing. So that was kind of bizarre. And I think he had the ball enough too. It just didn't seem like he was being as aggressive. I think all of his misses kind of came at the same kind of like underhanded shots. Like he doesn't go through contact that well around the rim. He just kind of does these kind of underhand shots that don't really seem to hit at that high of a clip. But yeah, you got another really good game from Clarkson. But the thing with Utah is they just kill you from a bunch of different places. Like just looking at box scores and stuff, because they're on a pretty good heater here, win streak. You peek the box scores once in a while, and it's like nobody on the team had more than 22. Markkanen had 22 as the leading scorer for them. So like they don't just have one person that kills you. You get Markkanen puts up 22, Fontecchio 13, Sexton 20, Olynyk 11, Kessler 12, Clarkson 21. It's just kind of like death by 1,000 paper cuts. And they're kind of so deep that again, THT, one of Masai's big targets, DMP, not even getting minutes. But yeah, this Utah team, you saw it last year for like a little bit of a stretch. It's a team that like doesn't pop talent wise, but again, like I said, it's like I think it's a pretty well constructed roster. Like you've got a nice center balance, you've got point guards, obviously, you've got shooters, you've got guys that shoot threes, you got guys that get downhill, you got guys that block shots. Like it's not even that bad of a team. And then you add to the fact that you've got I think they have 15 first round picks in the next like 5 years or something ridiculous. So yeah, they're in a good position. They decided to blow it up, and doesn't look like they'll be in a Detroit-Washington situation for very long. So, interesting stuff. So quickly comes out really intense, hits like a logo through it off the bat, and then another pull-up three a couple minutes later. And then Scotty just like erases Keontae George at the rim, probably like maybe the play of the game. I wrote down like Schroeder does these kind of like heat check kind of vibe shots once in a while, and they just look really casual. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, where like he'll just kind of go into the mid range. There's like no follow through. He's usually like turning his hips, which I know he normally does, but it just looks a little bit casual. So, but most of all, the shouts to the halftime coach who went long, but it was good. Like he went to like 11:43 in the quarter. He was still talking, but it was good. He was like talking about actual X's and O stuff. Talked a lot about the ISO ball, lack of ball movement, and how Utah was getting downhill and stuff. But yeah, in that second quarter, it's just a lot of ISO ball. Like not a lot of passing, not a lot of cutting, not a lot of movement. Both teams played really good defense in the first half, and then I thought in the third quarter the Raptors defense really slipped as their 3-point shooting got somehow better, but the defense kind of fell off a little bit of a cliff. But I felt like in the beginning of the third, Porter was just like everywhere. He was like rebounding, getting steals, hitting threes, taking good shots. And then the rest of the Raptors finally started taking more threes. Gary started taking more threes. Siakam was hitting threes. Porter got a block. And they seemed to have a little bit of juice at the second half of the third quarter. Like their defense picked up. Siakam was hitting from three. And then kind of right at the end of the third quarter where it's like, all right, one last push, one last wild card, because whatever. We'll throw in the best shooter from this year's draft, Grady Dick. Band-Aid. Grady Dick with a Band-Aid. I don't know if he injured himself doing like a tricep press or something. I do honestly would love to know the workout program that he's on. I wish they would publish that stuff, but they don't. Even like just some basic stuff. One of the best things about low key, one of the best things about the lockdowns was the NBA players like putting their workouts on YouTube. So you got like Bradley Beal, De'Aaron Fox. Who else? There's a few. Those are the two ones I watched the most. But it's like that was Shea even with that feature that the Hamilton News did. But yeah, that was it would be cool to see what kind of strength he's working on. He just doesn't look confident out there at all, and didn't look great for the 905 either. Like watching those 905 games, he like if you went into those 905 games and you didn't know who any of the players were, then you're like, that's Grady Dick. He has the 15th best true shooting percentage on the 905. You probably would think, and then you watch a few of the games, you might think he's kind of like in the middle of the prospect pool. But yeah, he just didn't. the last Dick effort, the last Dick attempt just didn't hit. It didn't really do much. And then Dennis rolls his ankle a little bit, and 7:20 in the fourth quarter, down 23. Darko just says fuck it. Garrett Temple get in the game. McDaniels get in the game. I think Grady had come out, but now Grady get back in the game. And not the most fun watch. Bit of a later game as well, so kind of had a lot working against it. Didn't expect a win in this one, to be honest, because the Jazz have been playing really well, and they seem to always play the Raptors really well. And I don't have any numbers in front of me, but like low key might have definitely one of the better benches in the NBA. Like obviously Jordan Clarkson's like 6th man of the year, always in the top kind of rankings on that one. And then, I mean, you've got Olynyk coming off the bench. You've got Kessler coming off the bench. And Keontae George doesn't look bad either, although, the 0 for 5 from 3 isn't great. But again, you can see him getting downhill. He plays at his own pace. He's more like, he's got a really good handle. He's in control. And with Grady, like, he really doesn't have a lot of those, like, ancillary. They're not even ancillary. Like, dribbling's pretty important. But, yeah, tough stuff. Hopefully it's not David Johnson type situation. Documentary coming soon. But yeah, what did you guys think? Let me read some of the chats here. Just on a cruise. TZ said, had to stop watching. Very unexciting game. The Raptors are an embarrassment. The best thing about the pandemic was surging. It's time to start calling him GD. Grady has the physique. of you, I'm guessing, Steve. Jazz 56%, Clippers 53%, Lakers 53%, Kings. Running into hot teams. Um, yeah, that's definitely part of it. They kind of are on a bit of a tough road trip, but again, this was the first bad game since the trade. Like obviously they're still kind of losing at the same clip as they were before. But up until this point, the previous 6 games, I guess, have been much better. This was a weird game. I know. I mean, I guess people could say like the last game of a. It's been a long road trip. The last game of a long road trip is it's not that long, but longish road trip. I guess people are tired. Traveled a lot. I've been to Salt Lake City. Been to Utah. Drove through it a little bit. It was 100 degrees. A lot of churches. So maybe it's just difficult to kind of get motivated. Big desert, big salt desert. The highway doesn't curve for like 66 miles or something. And it's kind of creepy, to be honest. It's a little bit creepy around there. That's where The Conqueror was filmed. Have you guys heard of The Conqueror, the John Wayne movie? Considered the worst movie of all time, and it killed most of the cast that worked on it. Like, it's how John Wayne died. A bunch of the actors died. It drove the producer like clinically insane. He tried to buy every copy of the movie. Spent like $12 million on that way back in like the 70s, which was like for inflation is crazy because he didn't want anybody to see it. And apparently he just like watched it on loop until the day he died and like didn't like stop showering, just did tons of drugs, and just like it ruined the lives of like everybody involved because it's not only the worst movie of all time, like the script and the dialogue and everything. It's John Wayne playing a Mongolian warlord. So, incredible. I mean, incredible. But they filmed it at like downwind from a nuclear testing facility. So like 81 of the people who worked on it like got cancer and died, which is like half the cast. And then a bunch of people in the town as well. Because back then they were like, people would like go to nuclear weapons explosions and it was like a show. Like they didn't know back then. It was just like, oh, let's go watch the sky. And then they would like catch the debris and stuff even. So yeah, they filmed this movie in Utah downwind from the testing place somewhere in Nevada, but it was by a place called St. George, Utah, which is like south of Salt Lake. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. It was actually in the trash can of the producer, and John Wayne was like in his office and wanted to take a risk in a movie. Like, oh, I want to do something different. I just wanted to do like, where I'm just a typical Western all the time. It's like, oh, okay, well, you're going to be like Mongolian, so we're going to have to make you kind of Mongolian. Like a lot of the characters, they put white people in and like Asianize them, which just didn't work like at all. Just not great. But with him, he like John Wayne, like he didn't speak in like an Asian, like he had this really weird way of talking where like he didn't talk like a Mongolian would. Like historians, I've listened to podcasts with historians. It's like, it's not how Mongolians talk. It's not how John Wayne talked. It's just like a weird hybrid of both. But yeah, worst movie ever made. Because it's like, it's even worse than The Room, I think. But yeah, that was the type of game that this was. I'm talking about worst movie ever made. Everyone's saying it was a hard watch. Mickey San, if Pascal will go to another team, we need a power. What's this? I guess sometimes I think I have the power to like stop this stuff, but I don't. Is when people do the we thing, like we need a power forward. It's just like you're not on the team. Neither am I. Steve Hoffman, this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and then we'll trade Siakam, and then. Yeah, this one game in Utah. That's how billionaires work, by the way. Off of like a bodily function. That's how they fucking function. Come on, people. Who's this algorithm putting these videos out to? Here's a good one. Hermes Curry. Raptors had 31 rebounds. The Jazz had 56. Yeah, that's tough. I did not know it was that. Again, the Raptors have these. Raptors 8 offensive rebounds. Utah 14 offensive rebounds. Utah 42 defensive. Raptors 23 defensive. Damn. Yeah, and then the Jazz 93 field goal attempts. Raptors 81 field goal attempts. So 12 extra field goal attempts. Bunch more. They hit a bunch more threes. They took a bunch more. Took 9 more threes. So I guess it was 145, 113. I said 142, 110 or something like that. But yeah, it's just some weird numbers in this game. Again, as I said at the top, quickly 0 assists in 25 minutes. Weird that he only played 25 minutes, and also weird that he had 0 assists. And he had 15 points, but I think like 8 or 9 of them were kind of in the first few minutes. Barrett puts up a 4-pointer straight out of the Carmelo Anthony podcast. He went 2 for 9 from the field. So it's not like he was chucking or being super aggressive, but the times that he was aggressive, it just like didn't look that great. He does kind of, someone pointed this out, he does kind of move like Zion a little bit. Like he's kind of got that like, I don't know. I keep thinking about Mike Ehrmantraut in Lord of the Rings, and I can't stop thinking about it. Like him in Helm's Deep, the only one with a machine gun, and he's just like Legolas and Gimli are like 21, 22, and he's just like there with his sniper rifle. It's just like, Walter, I don't care for your games. That was a really bad Mike Ehrmantraut. Don't clip that and put it in somewhere. Someone told me last week that I need to work on my impressions, and they're definitely right. Walter
21.
Walter. TZ says I do the Wii thing. I think I caught myself doing it once, so maybe I should hold up on it. This is a cool boat behind me here. I might check that out after this show's over. I like the red and blue, like the blue light. I think I'm in Florida. I think. Deltron. Is that Deltron 3030? Barnes and RJ hate each other. I'm only reading these because like I don't have anything else to talk about. Like the comment I'm about to read is really stupid, but I'm reading it because I'm kind of out. Like I read all my notes, looked at the box for a little bit. Probably gonna banter in a sec, but I just want to read these. This is a really bad comment, but Barnes and RJ hate each other. They have the synergy of oil and water. The synergy of oil and water. What's your... Nah, I don't want to go there. Just gonna ask you a very personal question, but let's not take the live stream down that road. But I was gonna ask you a very like way too personal question, to kind of do a little philosophical debate over getting to know someone very quickly. But I don't know. Savannah Hamilton's mom might be tuning into the live stream. Still follows me on Twitter, so. Mike Oxert, they really thought lifting weights for 2 weeks was going to do shit. I mean, I've said it, if you like, send him to me. I've got kettlebell. I've got 2 kettlebells, actually. I've got gymnastics rings. I get Grady on the gymnastics rings. Get him doing the tricep extensions. Dips on gymnastics rings are pretty tough. Obviously, pull-ups, gymnastics rings are still not that much different than bar, but yeah, get them on the gymnastics rings. I got some bands. I got some booty bands, some regular bands. I got every kind of band you could think of. Got a lot of medicine balls. So, I've said it before. Like I will fix this team. I'm not ready like TZ is to say we. I'm not on the team yet, but I am putting in the training required to hopefully necessarily potentially be the one who saves the Toronto Raptors, and then I'll say we. Once I make the team, again, had my press credentials revoked after training camp, the stunt I pulled, but if I get on the team, if I get on the 905, that's like my main motivation, honestly, for making the 905 and uprooting my life to train is just so I can say we back again. Pale Fox, I think I'll go watch some Levan Polka. LeVay. I don't know why I read that as like Anton LaVey, like the Satanist. What do you guys think of Mike Ehrmantraut in Lord of the Rings? Would you Would you rather would you rather have Mike Ehrmantraut in Lord of the Rings or Stephen A. Smith and Austin Powers? Both are pretty good. We already did the Jordan Peterson and Trailer Park Boys, but this is my new one. Stephen A. Smith and Austin Powers. I think he would either be like one of the guys at Dr. Evil's table, or he would be like out and about as like a side character. But I think, because he's got the suits, he's very like boomba. Like he would be an incredible Austin Powers character, not like a main character, but like a character. And then Ehrmantraut, I think he would be great with the Fellowship. I don't think he would try to take the Ring of Power. I mean, he might, but I don't think he would go Boromir. I think he could be like he could be in there with Legolas and Gimli. I think as like one of those guys. Traveling by foot over that great a distance when they're like running through although Gimli does it. So, but yeah, I could see Mike being really good in like Moria, and then at Helm's Deep, he would put up fucking numbers at Helm's Deep. There's nobody riffing with this banter. Am I cooked? It's a late game. It's 9:22 on the West Coast. It's way past my bedtime. Yeah, this is obviously the worst game since the trade. And is Darko going crazy in the Mike 100p would be Gandalf guy. I think he has Gandalf like characteristics in a way, but I feel like that's too much power, giving him too much power. He might get corrupted. But yeah, it would be sweet if he had the only machine gun at Helm's Deep. Like he's got like the hood on with like the elves. He would look sick in a hood too. Who's the elf that gets shot at Helm's Deep? Gets murked. Leaves Mirkwood and gets murked at Helm's Deep. Do you guys have any thoughts about Alex's last day at the show? I kind of said my piece about it during the Lakers game, but it was officially his last show today. Has been on this program before, so colleague, friend of the program. Yeah, it's a big loss to the landscape, but he'll reappear. He'll be back. He'll reemerge. But yeah, tough. It was a tough watch. Tough to. You could tell it was like an emotional thing. I kind of had a weird time navigating that, but at the end of the day, I think people know my Sportsnet opinions. Maybe Sportsnet will change. Maybe they'll kind of let their talent breathe a little bit more. But until that happens, I mean, do you guys think it could? Like, do you guys think there's going to be like a Brad Faye Twitch stream or something? I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Like, what's Sportsnet's like pivot going to be in like 5-10 years? Is there going to be like the Brad Faye, Alvin Williams, like live Twitch? Put one in the chat if this is like a W or something. Are they going to start doing Mike Ehrmantraut impressions? What's their pivot going to be? They backed off of YouTube originally with Will and Alex, but then went back on. But I feel like they're gonna try some shit. But until then, they are the enemy. They are the enemy of the people. The enemy of all good things. They are Mordor at this point. But maybe they can change. Maybe they can change. I did apply for the grill, the Sportsnet grill, the dishwasher position. Didn't get a call back, so I don't know if it's for me, but a sad day indeed for the media landscape for Toronto and you could tell, yeah, by watching it, that it was like, an emotional thing. They said that the industry is full of people that backstab, and Alex isn't one of them. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, their names are names. I'm trying to learn this. I'm trying to learn how everybody operates in the space. So I wanna know, but I'm not at that point yet. Probably never be at that point, for being honest. Marcelo, does Boromir get corrupted in the books? I got to make a confession. I started reading the book again for the first, for the 18th time, and I can't get past the Tom Bombadil stuff. It's just it's like the third chapter in a row. There's just people singing and stuff, and I just I'm watching season 1 of Better Call Saul again. It's the first time I watched it. I came right out of Breaking Bad, and just didn't really hit for me. And I just remember him being in the house with his brother and just being like, this is boring as shit. And the brother is the guy who's he always plays like hacky roles in like sitcoms and stuff, so I can't really take him seriously. But rewatching it again, I'm just like, damn, this is actually really good. So I'm in like a huge Mike Ehrmantraut phase right now. But Boromir, I don't know what happens with Boromir in the books, because I can't get past the Tom Bombadil stuff, but definitely in the movies, he's thirsty for it. I really like the scene with him and Aragorn in Rivendell when they've got like the sword of Elendil, and obviously it's a really important sword to Gondor, and Aragorn's like would never touch it, but Boromir's just like playing around with it, and then it's already broken, but then Aragorn like puts it together perfectly. Thought that was like a really good way to illustrate that one character like cares about stuff, and then the other one just like doesn't give a fuck. Nicholas Burridge 924. Is that Never Novin? Is that your is that the hashtag? Is hashtag Deep House in this? If you're like, why the hell is he talking about Mike Ehrmantraut and Lord of the Rings? It's because we've already gotten through the game notes. So if you're interested in Grady Dick and Keontae George, see the first half of this video. I actually know Nicholas Burridge in real life. I'm pretty sure it's him. I thought he was messing around with me because he messaged me once and he's like, I really like your videos or something to that effect. But like I had already sent him my stuff, but maybe he didn't watch it or forgot about it. But yeah, that's like a weird coincidence of online and real life coalescing together as one. Aragorn lets Frodo leave because he could have been tempted by the ring. He knew the power was resistant. I hate this scene that Aragorn does, even though the sword is straight. It's unpleasant. I guess I got to read the books a little bit closer. Even the audiobook, it's got all the sound effects, and he does the voices like Frodo. Oh, Frodo. But yeah, I'll get through the books. I gotta get through Better Call Saul, and then I'll get back to the books. But yeah, again, just see if there's any more banter in the chat. But just to recap, Scotty, maybe his best defensive game that I've seen for a long time. How many blocks did officially they give him? He had 3 blocks. Felt like more. Nobody on the Raptors. I'm just, again, like, this is such a weird. If you look at the assists on the Raptors, like Jonte Porter led them with 6 assists, which is nice. But then everybody else is like 2, 2, 3, 2, 0. That's the starting lineup for the Raptors. 2, 2, 3, 2, 0 on assists. Like that's kind of wild. 25 assists out of the whole lot. Like way more assists on the bench. Schroeder 4 assists, Porter 6 assists. I think Schroeder and Porter, if my math is correct, had more assists than the starting lineup. They did. Let me repeat that again. Porter and Schroeder had more assists than the starting lineup. That's me being the TSN stats person. That's tough. Again, not a lot of ball movement tonight. Really, really kind of sticky. And I think that can kind of be summed up by quickly having 0 assists, which that's like the weirdest stat to me in this one. And also weird that I feel like there's been a bunch of games where he's only played like 25 minutes. And I think for this team, I would like it to be higher. And I mean, for him to go 3 for 3 from three is like criminal. I mean, he needs to. And there's been a few games like this, and I think he'll maybe settle into it. By the way, I don't know if people. Fun fact: I was listening to the. Okay, I always get this. I always get the Ringer NBA show mixed with the Athletic NBA show. I think it was the Athletic NBA show. Caitlin Cooper was on it. But I didn't know this. But they were just throwing out stats, which some of them were kind of crazy. So like RJ Barrett is the third most efficient transition scorer in the NBA, and Scotty was like the second worst. It was like 0.99 points per possession. Now I know he gets a lot of assists in transition, but I thought that was kind of a crazy stat. But then the craziest stat was Tyrese Maxey being the most inefficient pull-up three-point shooter, like high-volume three-point shooter. I think he was like 31% on pull-up threes, Tyrese Maxey. So. Yeah, I've been thinking about those kind of things all day, so I just listen to Alvin in my head too, so that's why I kind of stumbled on that and just stumbled again. It takes me a little bit, Randy Urban wants me dead. I said that about the homestand sports people, and they took it seriously. Like, they actually thought that I was like putting it out there, that I said I would welcome it as well. Their connections to the Vegas gambling scene. It's like, you guys definitely know people that could have me dead, and I would welcome it. That was like a joke, but they took it seriously. And the ripple effects of those jokes are still happening behind the scenes to this day. I didn't, not that I care, but I didn't realize that the homestand sports family are pretty connected behind the scenes. And there's definitely a certain group. This is what I'm talking about. I'm learning all about this. Like, I'm learning about the Toronto Raptors, like, media space, like the media scene, like slowly learning, but like I am realizing there are some funny dynamics which exist in any workplace or groups of people, but I'm trying to like learn like who's about what, like off camera, even like who are the people who are about. And yeah, the homestand sports thing kind of I'm trying to think of a Lord of the Rings way to put it. Unveiled something. I never made that video, by the way, but it's kind of gotten bigger in scope over time, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, I got a Malachi Supercut video coming out tomorrow. That finishes up the Supercut series. I put her in OG Raptor Moment Supercut, Precious Achua Raptor Moment Supercut, and then the Malachi Flynn one coming out tomorrow. And then I also got a quickly Scotty video. I think I'll put that out Sunday. What else? Got any Mike Ehrmantraut facts for me? Marcel, how long are the audiobooks? I think it's like 112 hours or something. They had a video on YouTube. It was like every audiobook on a bridge, like in one video. And I think it was 112 hours. And I was like, hell yeah, all in one place. But then I think it got taken down. So now I got to do the individual chapters. But there are there's so many differences, like in the books and the movies, just off the first few chapters. Like, I always get Merry and Pippin mixed up, but only one of them are with them. And it takes them way longer to get out of the Shire. Holy shit, it takes a long time to get out of the Shire. And the Black Hooded Horseman guy fucks around with them way more in the book than in the movie. Like, he almost catches them like 3 or 4 times. But they don't like run to Buckleberry Ferry. Like, that's not in the book. They get to the ferry, but it's not the same like chase scene. And then they don't just go straight to Bree. They go through like the hidden forest or some shit. I don't know. And there's some other guy named like Fatty Bulger, I think, and he's at the house and he's like holding down the fort. I think something bad happens to him though, because they said in an ominous line about him. But yeah, it's kind of slow as shit. Devin Smith says Quickly had 10 dimes last game and decided to hunt shots to start the game. He's hunting shots. He's hunting them. He took 8 shots in 25 minutes. He's hunting them. He's hunting. He's like Mike Ehrmantraut at Helm's Deep. He's hunting New Yorks. 8 shots in 25 minutes. 3 for 3 from 3. 4 for 8 from the field. He's hunting. Raptors took 81 shots. He took 8. He's hunting. He's out there hunting. He's hunting the shots. Yeah, he hit 2 threes early in the game. And apparently was hunting. So I didn't know that he was hunting. George Stevens, that's crazy. Boromir almost kills them. Bombadil saves the day. Barrow, right? So there's too many characters in the books. Is that the tree? Is it the tree that almost kills them, and then he just comes along and like he's singing and shit? And then in the audiobook version, they're actually singing the songs, and I'm just like wanting to like bash my brains in listening to it. But I haven't watched the Hobbit movies either, but I heard they suck. And I don't like how the guy from the British Office is the star in it. I just, every time I see him, I'm just like, that's Tim from The Office. UK Office, so much better, by the way. So much better. I think everybody knows that, though. But it's just, I guess the US Office is more memeable because everybody's seen it. It's more like culture. I'm just trying to eat time here to get to an hour, but I don't know if I'm going to make it. Devin Smith, watch the first 5 plays. I thought Scotty was really aggressive. So you're telling me all first 5 plays are... I don't know. I guess, like, what do you want him to do? Devin, please, tell me. The coach... Where's the Maven? Fuck, I think I was too much of a dick. I think CH is totally gone. So CH is abandoned ship. I was too much of a dick to CH, I think. Went a little bit too hard at CH. The Maven has left us. Yeah, but I'm kind of running out of steam here. You know, it's late on the West Coast. It's at 9:30, so... I don't think I have the 3.5 hour. How many people are here? 28. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna go hop on this boat here behind me. Where am I? I think I'm in like Florida or something. Looks like Florida. I think that's in English writing on the truck. Got some palm trees here. Just an observation, says Devin Smith. That's actually where a lot of the good Breaking Bad YouTube content you can find is. There's a channel called Just an Observation. That's where you get your Mike Ehrmantraut deep dives, character analysis, character study. I feel like I've already told the Kelly Olynyk story a million times on here, but I guess the Raptors don't play the Jazz again this year, I think. So I was in a situation where I would have almost guarded Kelly Olynyk if we would have won a couple more games. The way that the school districts were set up, I was outside of Vancouver in the quote-unquote Fraser Valley, even though not really, but got lumped into that, which borders his region, which was like Thompson, Okanagan. So I hit this shot at Lord Tweedsmuir Secondary. My Uncle Rico moment. Hit a shot from like, I'm gonna say it was like 8 or 9 feet. It's pretty close, but like kind of like on the left. Like kind of where like the last maybe like between the second and the closest guy line up on the free throw line. Kind of like there. Like 2 seconds left to hit that. We won the game, but then we lost. That was like a really big game, but then we lost. I don't know if we lost one or we lost the rest, but we ended up not advancing, so I didn't get to play Kelly Olynyk. But everybody here in BC back then, like feared him. You know, it was a. And I would have had to have guarded him because I was a starting point guard. He was a starting point guard. I was like 5'6", probably 5'7". This was grade 10. So this was the grade 10 year because he was in Ontario in before that. So it would have been the grade 10 year. So he was like 6'7", I think, as a point guard, which if you're a 6'7" point guard and you're really good in BC, people are probably gonna know who you are. His name back then was just Kelly O, and you'd get like the local newspaper, like the South Delta Leader, and it'd be like Kelly Olynyk, Kelly O in brackets, puts up 150 points or something against some fucking team or whatever. So yeah, everybody was kind of afraid of him, knew who he was. I think our tallest player was like 6'7". Like, we had these two twins that just like, they stunk. They couldn't do anything on the basketball floor. But in grade 8, they were like 6'6". Huge wingspan too. Like they looked like basketball players. And I think in grade 8 they were like 6'6", which is like pretty tall for grade 8. I think they kind of hit a wall growth wise. Like I don't think they got much taller than that. But like in grade 8 they were 6'6". There were two of them, and it was just rare to have someone that size at that age, like 13. And like it became like an inside joke because they were so bad. They were so bad. But it became this like inside joke because during warm-ups we would always notice the other team just like shitting their pants, just like, oh my god. Because you see them and they're fucking huge, and again there's two of them, so it just looks harder. I think one was in the starting lineup like once in a while, but like not really. One of them got way more playing time than the other, which was tough because they were twins, and then the other twin would always be like at the end of the bench, like doing the stats while his brother was getting way more playing. His twin brother was getting a lot more playing time. But yeah, they stunk. But yeah, I just love watching. We just love watching the other teams just be like, oh my god, like just horrified of these guys. And then once they get into the game, they realize like, oh, I can just like look at a block here and there once in a while, but just guys with like no touch. Like I don't know if they had ever played like a sport before, and then it almost felt like someone was like pushing them to go. And I remember my mom was like driving them back home from a basketball tournament somewhere in East Van, and they had like never been to East Vancouver. From the suburbs. So, which is where I live now, in East Vancouver. But Kelly for Gary Trent. Yeah, I mean, he would have been a point. I think he would have been a point center if he was like coming up now. They wouldn't have shifted him. And you can see the playmaking and stuff. But yeah, that's my closest to NBA fame story. Almost guarded Kelly Olynyk. So yeah, the Raptors lose in the first bad game since the trade, 145, 113. And I think I'm going to pack it in. Go watch some Mike Ehrmantraut shit, you know. Interesting character study. He's obviously not good, but the real question is, in terms of writing perspective, does he make the bad world he's in better? Like, would the bad world he exists in be better or worse with him not in it or in it? same was like for Walter, because like he obviously led to the whole destruction of like the Empire. Pretty much, it was going really smoothly until he showed up. So, was he actually a chaotic force for good because he unintentionally fucked everything up, or is that gaslighting? These are the big questions. You know, these are the big questions. Remember when I used to do awards? When did I stop doing that? And Veal Award. I'm gonna give that to Quickly. Only 25 minutes. Thought he could have gotten a little bit more run. Tony Wonder Award. We're gonna give to Jonte Porter. 9 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Clocked in a 31-minute burger. And I think before this game, if I remember correctly, 18 was the most minutes he'd ever played in a game. So 18 is the most minutes you've ever played. Then you go up to 31 the next game. So, I mean, welcome to the NBA, buddy. But like I said in the past, it's the perfect situation for him. It's the perfect opportunity. Pirtle's injured. You trade away Precious, who had an amazing highlight. I'm sure everybody saw the. I don't know if he ever did that for the Raptors. Like I was like, even for Precious, that's pretty juicy. By the way, I did put out the Precious Issue Supercut. If you haven't seen that, it's all of Precious Achiuwa's moments. So they're all of Precious Achiuwa's Raptor moments. But I kind of wish I had the over the top, behind the back, or behind the head, backwards pass, because that was honestly just like really special. But yeah, the Malachi video is coming out tomorrow. I'll tell you we'll go in. I'll tell you the what you can expect from the Malachi. Really gonna get this to an hour, aren't we? Oh, hell yeah. So the Malachi video is coming out tomorrow. It's got such classics as Malachi farts on the bench, Eric Flynn tries gaslighting Nick Nurse, in brackets like into more Malachi minutes. Nick Nurse hypes up Malachi Flynn before draining a 3. Victor Wembanyama wants no part of Malachi Flynn. Malachi Flynn kisses it off the side of the backboard. Scotty Barnes jumps over Malachi Flynn. Blog T.O. writes an article about the Malachi farting video. And then the Precious one that just went up the other day, if you haven't seen that yet, the Precious Achiuwa Raptor one with Supercut. Such classics as Precious Achiuwa takes the weirdest 3 of the season. Precious Achiuwa has a strange curse put on him. Precious Achiuwa turns Joel Embiid into a fish. Precious Achiuwa says no one has been to the moon. Precious Achiuwa slams down the high IQ dunk. Darko Rajakovic is shocked by Precious Achiuwa's screens. Fred VanVleet helps Precious Achiuwa hit a free throw. Precious Achiuwa gets stupidly locked in. Precious... What movie am I thinking of right now? Housekeeping. What? Just one moment. Is that from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Anyway, Precious Achiuwa gets scorching hot versus the Sixers. Precious Achiuwa sends Corey Kispert back to college. Precious Achiuwa doesn't make the pass. Precious Achiuwa sparks a 16-0 run. Precious Achiuwa morphs into a point center. So that was already out. Malachi one coming up. And maybe I will I was thinking of just doing supercuts for all the players, you know. Like I should have done one for Fred. I didn't really think about it until this trade happened. But maybe I should do that. Like I probably should put a Delano one out. It's kind of late for that, but probably should just still do that. And then at least at the end of the year, maybe I should just do it now or by the end of the year. Like the Scotty supercut would be easily over an hour. That would probably be like hour 10, hour 15. I'm just guessing. The Gary one would probably be like 45 minutes long, I think. Who else? Not really enough Kyle Lowry. Not enough Norm. Boucher, there's enough, I think. Siakam, obviously. Scotty, obviously. So maybe I'll do more of those with the fucking yellow background. 59:50. We're gonna make it to an hour. So the last episode, the previous one, I think is like the only one in the last 2 months that were under an hour. So I just the aesthetics. But that was the late game against the Clippers. That's my excuse. TZ says all supercuts would be cool. Fred deserves one in my opinion. Yeah, I should just do one for like Nick. Nick for sure could have one easily. Nick's one would probably be 15-20 minutes. Fred would probably be 15-20 minutes. Cause I didn't make a ton of Fred content, but still, yeah, he deserves it. Who else? Ron Harper Jr. just have call it a supercut and then just have the one video. But yeah, Malachi coming out tomorrow. Malachi was he was just like not intentionally funny, but just his whole, just having the crazy dad, and like the dad who puts out stuff like, my son looking into the face of LeBron James, like praise the Lord Jesus Christ or something, or looking at LeBron as like what I don't know you put about LeBron James, like looking at Malachi like equals or something. A lot of, and then his other ones are just like a lot of people are saying bad things about the Raptors and about the team, but have you ever considered praying for the team? And then the next thing is like Nick Nursery is oh man, just classics. But yeah, my favorite, so it's in the Supercup for tomorrow, is his dad. I don't know if you guys remember this, but his dad gaslighting Nick into giving Malachi more playing time, and his angle was Fred's knee, which was just like, and that was I think before like a serious injury or anything, but he was pretending to legitimately be worried for like Fred VanVleet's like physical. Well, like that was the angle he took to try to get Malachi more minutes. It's just incredible after obviously all the Nick Nursery stuff. His son should be playing more, all that. But then when he came out with the Fred knee thing, that's when I had to make the video. I was just like, this is too funny. Like, you've got this really long track record of your stance, and now it's like we need to consider the knees of the guy in front of my son. The guy who in my head is the reason why he's not getting minutes. So classic, obviously farting on the bench, classic. Got it to an hour. TZ says W thumbnails. I was kind of thinking, should I do all my thumbnails with the same yellow background? Like I got a quickly Scotty one coming up, and it would honestly just take like 5 seconds to do. Just mask it, put the yellow in the back. But then I want to distinguish the supercuts, kind of. But then I kind of like the all yellow background. I don't know. What do people think about the yellow thumbnails? Big decisions. Big decisions. Probably going to talk to the investors, the board. I also found out a company that I used to work for. James Dolan partnered with them. And it's really funny because like it's like I wouldn't have signed. Oh, I guess yeah, but it's like a AI like recognition, like facial security recognition stuff. But yeah, I just found out about the partnership. That's pretty much it, though. That's pretty much it.